Most men rush in, thinking that asking a woman direct questions will give them deeper access to her soul. They press for details her past relationships, heartbreaks, trauma, believing this is how trust is built. But what they don't realize is that every question invites a performance, a story, a mask, not out of malice or deceit, but out of instinct for self-preservation. The truth? You don't need to interrogate a woman to understand her. Her history is written in her present, hidden in her reactions, her silence, her tone, her inconsistencies. Real power comes not from asking, but from observing. In this video, I'll show you how to decode the subtle patterns that reveal who she really is without ever needing to ask. So if you're serious about mastering emotional intelligence and seeing women clearly, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss an upload here on Stoic 95. Number 1. Watch how she responds to attention. There's a quiet truth that most men overlook. Attention exposes more than words ever will. You can learn more about a woman's emotional foundation by how she handles being seen than by anything she says about her past. Compliments, glances, digital praise, they're not just external. They reflect her internal world. When you tell her she's beautiful, does she smile with calm appreciation, or does she light up like she's gasping for air after being underwater? That reaction alone tells you what kind of validation she's been living without. A woman who's used to being overlooked will often grow addicted to the spotlight. Not because she's shallow, but because being seen feels like finally being alive. And that's where the danger begins. If attention becomes her oxygen, she will always be seeking it, whether it's from you or someone else. Not intentionally, not manipulatively, but because she's still carrying the weight of being invisible for too long. That's not evil. It's a wound. And wounded people leak, they bleed into the relationships they touch. The Stoics believed in detachment not as indifference, but as self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." The same applies here. A woman who is grounded in herself doesn't need every eye in the room. She isn't performing. She's present. She can enjoy admiration without needing it. That difference is massive. One leads to peace, the other to quiet chaos. So ask yourself, when the likes stop, when the stares fade, when the room turns quiet, does she remain centered, or does she start reaching? A high-value man doesn't shame a woman for needing attention. He simply observes what that need might cost him. Because if she's still chasing eyes, she's not ready to build anything real. She's still trying to be filled from the outside in. And no man, no matter how strong, can win that race. Number 2. Listen to how she speaks about other women. This is one of those details most men overlook, but it's a silent window into her inner world. The way she talks about other women isn't just idle chatter, it's a mirror reflecting her own unresolved struggles. When a woman consistently tears down other women, even subtly, it's rarely about them. It's about her own battles with trust, jealousy, or past wounds that haven't healed. The truth is, the energy she brings when she speaks about other women reveals far more than the words themselves. Imagine a woman who constantly complains that her friends are fake, or that every other woman she knows is disloyal or toxic. That's not just bitterness or cynicism. It's emotional armor forged from past betrayals and insecurities. Maybe she was hurt by a close friend or burned by a partner's infidelity. These experiences leave scars that linger, shaping her view of women as competitors or threats rather than allies. And when you step into her world, you become part of that unresolved story, willingly or not. The Stoics teach us that how we perceive others is a reflection of our own inner state. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If she sees hostility or betrayal everywhere in women around her, it means she's carrying that weight inside. A woman who's truly at peace with herself sees other women as allies, not enemies. So when you hear the sharp tone, the judgment, or the distrust. It's a signal to check the terrain you're about to walk into. Because a woman who views every other woman as a threat is a woman still wrestling with ghosts, and that fight will echo in her relationship with you. Ask yourself, do you want to step into a battlefield dressed as a home? Number 3. Pay close attention to conflict. How a woman handles conflict reveals more about her past than any carefully crafted story ever could. When things are smooth and easy, anyone can be pleasant, charming, even loving. But real character shows up in the pressure, the moments when things go wrong, when emotions flare, when expectations clash. Watch how she behaves when she's upset. Does she withdraw into silence, shutting down like a fortress with the gates locked tight? Does she respond with sarcasm, throwing sharp words like weapons designed to wound? Or does she try to twist the situation, making you carry guilt that isn't yours to bear? On the other hand, does she hold steady, speak clearly, and seek to understand rather than accuse? This is where her emotional blueprint is written in bold. Think about the last time you faced tension with someone close. Maybe it was a miscommunication, or a forgotten promise, or simply a bad day turning into a bad argument. Did she escalate the situation, turning a molehill into a mountain? Or did she meet you halfway, trying to bridge the gap with calm and clarity? These responses aren't random. They are echoes of her history. A woman raised in chaos often learned early that small problems can explode into big fights. A woman who was emotionally ignored may react intensely to feeling misunderstood, because every ignored moment from the past left a wound that still aches. And a woman punished for showing vulnerability might shut down the moment things get uncomfortable. Because survival meant building walls instead of opening doors. None of this is about labeling flaws or weaknesses. These are survival mechanisms, forged in the fires of her past. They kept her safe when the world felt unsafe. But here's the crucial part. If you ignore these patterns, they don't stay hers, they become yours to carry. The Stoics teach us to recognize what we can control and what we cannot. You cannot control her past or how she learned to fight her battles. Your role is to observe without judgment, to notice the patterns, and to decide whether you're willing to stand in the storm with her. If every disagreement becomes a battlefield, it's not just a fight between two people, it's a replay of wars she hasn't won yet. And until those wounds are healed, you risk becoming collateral damage in someone else's war. Remember, a man of strength knows when to engage and when to walk away. Your peace is not negotiable. Number 4, track her emotional timeline through casual conversation. When it comes to understanding a woman's past, the blunt question of when was your last relationship is rarely worth your time. It's a surface-level inquiry that often invites rehearsed answers, carefully crafted stories meant to protect vulnerabilities. The real story doesn't come from direct questions. It hides in the little details she slips in unconsciously. It's in the way she talks about we instead of I, or how she recalls a place she used to go, a sushi spot, a beach, a bar, without naming who was there with her. These are breadcrumbs left behind in everyday conversation, and they carry the emotional weight of memories she might not be ready to face directly. Think about the last time you had a deep conversation with someone you trusted. Often, the most revealing moments weren't in what was explicitly said, but in what was implied, the pauses, the change in tone, the words left unsaid. A woman mentioning, "I had to rebuild myself after that," or "that was a really hard time for me," is not just talking about events. She's inviting you, quietly, to witness a chapter of her life that shaped her. These phrases are the map to her emotional timeline, markers of pain, growth, loss, and resilience. They tell you if she's healed or if those wounds still control her actions, decisions, and how she loves. From a Stoic perspective, this is about listening without judgment and observing without interference. Marcus Aurelius taught that understanding others requires patience and presence, not interrogation or impatience. Your role is not to pry or fix her past. Your role is to listen not only to the words she says, but to the silence she keeps. Because often, silence holds the loudest truths. A man grounded in Stoicism knows that wisdom comes from reading between the lines, and that emotional peace is earned by facing the past, not running from it. When you notice a woman avoiding these emotional signposts, it's a signal to pause and reflect. Is she ready to walk forward with you? Or is she still carrying shadows that will follow her into your life? Your strength lies in seeing clearly, not hoping blindly. Number 5. Notice how she talks about men as a whole. How a woman talks about men in general is one of the clearest mirrors reflecting her emotional history and the wounds she carries beneath the surface. It's not just idle chatter or casual jokes. It's a window into how much she has been hurt, disappointed, or even betrayed. When she speaks about her father, her exes, her male friends, or even public figures, listen carefully. Does she speak with neutrality, respect, or a quiet understanding? Or does her tone drip with bitterness, sarcasm, or a hardened skepticism? This is not just about words, it's about the emotional lens through which she views every man, including you. Think about it. A woman who jokes, "men are trash," doesn't say that lightly. That phrase is often repeated so many times it becomes a shield, a mantra drilled into her psyche to protect her from further pain. Maybe it started with one betrayal, or a childhood where the men closest to her failed to show up. Over time, it morphs into a blanket distrust, a default assumption that men cannot be trusted. If you hear those words and laugh along, consider how many times she's told herself that to survive, to numb the sting of being let down. That joke is armor forged in past battles. She might laugh, but deep down, she's carrying scars you haven't seen yet. Marcus Aurelius taught that we see the world not as it is, but as we are. If her view of men is tainted by past pain, it will color her perception of you no matter how different or genuine you are. You're not just entering her life, you're stepping into the lens through which she interprets all men. And if that lens is cracked or dirty, you will be fighting against shadows of the past. It's a hard truth every man must face. You will spend energy proving you are not the villain she expects, even before you've shown your true self. The question is, are you ready for that challenge? Or will you be another casualty of old wounds that have yet to heal? This is why a man of strength and wisdom remains calm and observant, not reactive. It's not about changing her perspective overnight, that's beyond your control. Instead, it's about recognizing the history she carries and deciding whether you have the patience and clarity to walk through that fire with her, or if your own journey requires you to choose a different path. Because your power begins where your need ends. And sometimes, that means accepting that no matter how much you give, the lens she looks through may never fully clear. Your peace depends on that understanding. Final message: you don't need to interrogate a woman to understand her past. The truth isn't in her words, it's in what she shows you every day. A man who is truly grounded doesn't chase after answers or demand explanations. He sees them clearly in her energy, her reactions, and the patterns she can't hide. So pay attention. Watch closely. Listen not just to what she says, but to what she avoids. Notice what sets her off, what calms her, and what stories she tells without realizing it. Her past is always speaking, sometimes louder than any confession. The real question is, do you have the discipline to hear it? And when you do, ask yourself the hardest question: does this woman's history fit the future you're building? Not every woman, no matter how beautiful, is meant to walk beside a man with purpose, and that truth is your strength. Choose clarity over chemistry, peace over potential. If this message hits home, subscribe to Stoic 95 and hit the bell icon now. This channel is for men who lead with discipline, think with clarity, and act with power, not to impress, but to master themselves. I'll see you in the next video.